Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at a brand new Alolan Ninetales. Now, this is kind of exciting because we have a bunch of Alolan Ninetales around at the moment. But this new one could be kind of cool. Now, we've actually not seen the regular Alolan Ninetales from the set. We've only actually seen the box topper, that is to say the one you get when you buy a box of the set over in Japan. And our translation, as several have lately, come from the lovely Antoine Boulet, who has been kind enough to tell us exactly what this Alolan Ninetales does. So what does it do? Well, if we start off having a look at the basics, it's got 110 HP, which for a non-GX Stage 1, honestly, is about right. That's pretty much what we would expect. I mean, it's what the other Alolan Ninetales has. Both of them. Of course, to be fair, they are literally exactly the same, other than the fact that, one's water, one's fairy. Although, to be fair, we also have the one from the trainer kit, which also has 110 HP. So, I feel a little bit vindicated, ladies and gentlemen. It has 110 HP. Of course it does. It's got a weakness to metal, and honestly, I'm not worried. Metal decks just really are not around at the moment. Now, to be fair, the new Steelix, which is going to be coming in Cosmic Eclipse, does look pretty gosh darned ridiculous. I'm a huge fan of that Steelix. It basically allows you to discard as many Pokemon as you like with a retreat cost of 4 from your hand, doing 50 damage for each one you discard. I do adore that Steelix. And maybe that one will be really good. But as it stands at the moment, don't be scared of metal decks. And the resistance to darkness, I mean, honestly, it's not a huge thing. Essentially, the Pokemon that see play at the moment that are darkness type are Umbreon and Darkrai and Mega Sableye and Tyranitar, either of whom will get an easy one-hit KO even through the resistance. Sorry. We do like the retreat cost of 1 because it means you can get a free retreat with U-turn board, which is all lovely. And being a fairy Pokemon, it's fine. Now, to be fair, you are actually hitting a pretty good weakness at the moment because we've seen that some Dragon decks are actually looking really quite good. The new Naganadel is a Dragon type, and that's seeing a fair amount of play. Reshiram and Zekrom looks like it might be the best, if not one of the best decks in the format when it comes out, and that is a Dragon deck, and hence weak to Fairy. So I think it's about to become a really good time to be a Fairy Pokemon. And just to finish off here, you've got the Fairy Charms as well. They give you immunity against certain types of EXs and GXs. Scared of Pikachu and Zekrom? Whack on a Fairy Charm Lightning and then it can't hurt you. Scared of Mewtwo and Mew? Well, you can either go for Fairy Charm Psychic, or you can go for Fairy Charm Ability. And either of them will give you immunity. The point is, you've got a lot of options as a Fairy Pokemon, and it's pretty gosh darn good. Yay! But what does it actually do? Remember, as always, there are timestamps to flick straight to the attacks if you wish. Being a Fairy Pokemon, we had to have a bit more of a chat than we usually would. 1 attack for 0 energy. This attack does 10 damage for each Pokemon tool card you have in your discard pile. And Antoine has been very clear to point out here, but you can see, just from the fact that there's no other numbers in the wording there, there's no limit here. Now, there might be a limit because you see things at the moment, you got stuff like that Alolan Executor. Now, this is the one that came around in Forbidden Light or in Team Up, depending on whether you want Grass or Dragon flavor. 20 damage plus 20 more for each type of basic energy in your discard pile, up to a maximum 100 damage. Or something like the new Zoroark from I say new, like it's not 3 sets old at this point. But the Zoroark from Team Up that does 20 damage for each Pokemon in your discard pile, up to a maximum 200 damage. Pokemon never used to put, well, they used to put limits on this. And then they stopped putting limits on this. And they're back to putting limits on it again. But not here. You can do as much damage as you gosh darned well like. But then again, can you really? And then that's basically my conclusion. That's my big, question leading to the conclusion here. okay, you can do as much damage as you like, but you're doing 10 damage for each Pokemon tool in your discard pile. So yeah, you can go and get a one-hit KO on a Magikarp and Wailord if you've got 30 Pokemon tools in your discard pile. Okay, that's a bit of an issue. Now, to be fair, there is a dumb deck to be made here. There is a ridiculous, preposterous, ludicrous deck to be made here, where you basically go for an absolute speed version of the deck, playing dumb stuff like Acrobike, and playing stuff like Electromagnetic Radar, even if you're not playing Lightning EXs and GXs, and playing multiple Zeb Striker from Lost Thunder, where you do play like 20 to 30 Pokemon tools. You basically just play a 4-4 line of this Alolan Ninetales, and you do actually aim to go nuts with Pokemon tools in the discard pile. I mean, you can make this work with 8 Pokemon, 0 energy, 52 trainer cards, and if you're playing 52 trainer cards, you can probably actually find room for playing like 30 Pokemon tools. And we got plenty of ways to discard them at the moment. We got Sightseer, which is a great supporter card if you want to be discarding stuff. And let's not forget we got the new Duskull coming out, although again that would be another Pokemon. But the new Duskull, just once during your turn, you can discard 3 cards from your hand and then search for a Pokemon that evolves from it and put it on it. But you're really just going to discard 3 cards from your hand. That's really what you're going to do with it. And you could make this work. You know, sooner or later, someone's going to win a tournament with this. And it's going to make people, and I'm going to be one of them, and I admit this right off the bat. I'm going to be one of them that looks at it and goes, well, it won some little League Cup over here. It's a viable deck. When I know rationally I should be going, well, it won a little League Cup with like 12 people and it's not really that good. No, I'm not going to think like that. I am going to think it's a legitimate powerhouse deck. You know people are going to be testing this. I mean, we had that ridiculous Gyarados list, or Gyarados deck, that came around fairly recently. The one that actually ended up in Team Up, whereby for a single energy you discard the top 7 cards of your deck, doing 30 damage base, 30 more for each water energy you find, discarding all the other cards and shuffling the energy back into your deck so it keeps getting better and better. I mean, it's called Distilled Blast and you are distilling your deck down to just water energy. If people are willing to try and make that work, you know people are going to be willing to try and make this work. Will it ever work? I don't know. I mean, one of the cool things about this deck is you do just get to go nuts with tool cards. Play a bunch of U-turn board to give yourself free retreat. Play a bunch of spell tag, potentially with some other psychic Pokemon. Just find every cool Pokemon tool you possibly can and just go absolutely nuts playing everyone that looks even remotely fun here. But actually, that's not the way you make it. You make it with fairy charms. You see, we have a lot of different fairy charms, and there are some Pokemon like Reshiram and Charizard for whom we don't actually have a good fairy charm, by which I mean we don't have one. But for most other Pokemon we do. So you just go nuts with fairy charms. You just play all the fairy charms you can get hold of. You play the fastest, most aggressive, most discardingest deck you can possibly find. Don't forget we've got Clay coming out that lets you discard the top 7 cards of your deck and put all the item cards you find into your hand. And then you just discard them as well. Remember, tools do count as items. And then you just go for it. And if you're against a Pikachu and Zekrom, you attach your Fairy Charm Lightning. If you're against a Blacephalon, you attach your Fairy Charm UB, etc., etc. And we don't have stuff like Field Blow around to get rid of them at the moment, which is kind of hilarious. Although Lysander Labs would potentially be a pain in the neck. I don't know how viable this is actually going to be. What you could do in a tool-heavy deck is just use it as a little bit of a tech, as a zero-energy attacker, especially if you're playing the other Alolan Ninetales from Team Up anyway. And that's probably the best way to use it. I'm playing 10 tools, I'm playing Ninetales anyway. I can do 100 damage for 0 energy at some point, why not? But with the fact that you don't need energy, the fact that you can play it with just 8 Pokemon, the fact that we've got the Fairy Charms around, and I think we've got enough tools here, you know, both literally and figuratively, as in Pokemon tools and ways to discard them, Double meaning. You know someone's going to make this deck. I want this to be good so badly. I want so much for this to be a great deck. I'm going to go ahead and give this card 4 Wassies, even though I'm pretty sure that's way too generous, because I want this to be good. I want this to be an amazing deck. I want someone to go to a regional or an international with this and just go absolutely nuts. I want this to be amazing. I don't know if it will be, though. I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.